Hey you guys, how's it going? DUJ2 here, and welcome. This is going to be something that I've never done on my channel before, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And if you guys want to see more about this, please let me know, because I may do this a lot more. But as you guys have seen from the title of this video, this is a talk about Dragon Ball Super. Now, for those of you who don't know, if you haven't been to my channel when I'm streaming, we talk about a lot of stuff. I mean, when you stream, 8, 10, 12, sometimes more hours a day, a lot of times you just start talking about a lot of other stuff, and you just get into those things, especially, just whenever the mood strikes. And for those of you who don't know, me and Proper Artist, we're friends, and we get into some really deep discussions about this sometimes. And let's talk about this. So, the reason why I want to talk about this particular episode, the reason why I want to talk about this, the reason why I want to get into this, is because this is the first episode in this series, in this current series, that has made me feel the way I have. I have to say, I've watched this just over a dozen times now, episode 109, 110. Me and Proper have spent hours on Discord just discussing it and talking about it and everything. And there's so many things that blew my mind about it. But I want to talk about it, and I want to break it down and go through it bit by bit. I want to talk about it and just go through it. Now, as you guys know, I try not to do video of other content on my channel much, unless it's like a trailer review or something. But this is the full episode review, so we're not going to have video on this, but I am going to have stills. I'm going to have stills that I'm going to go through and we're going to talk about. The main reason why I felt the need to talk about this one is because of the feel of the episode. After the first time I watched it, I just sat there, and I'm sure a lot of us did, and I was like, whoa, what was that? The timing of the episode, the flow of the episode, the feel of the episode, there's so many different things that we had, and I'm not even talking about the content of the episode. I'm just talking about all of this production stuff that personally I don't think we've ever seen in a Dragon Ball Super episode yet. Just, this was different. This episode, they pushed the story while at the same time opening up so much more for us to know. So the first still we're going to talk about is this one here. And by this time, if you guys watched the episode, and again, spoiler alerts, major spoiler alerts. If you have not watched this episode yet, I am going to be going in depth into this episode. So please, if you haven't seen it yet, just, go watch it or something, because we're going to really get into here. Okay, so in the first one, the first scene we're going to see is this one here. And by this time in the episode, we'd already seen, and I didn't get stills of these ones because I didn't have time, but before this, you do see at the beginning of 109, we've got the whole thing with Bribrian and Goku, and they, they're continuing their fight. And then, there's quite a bit with Bribrian, and I love her, but we're not here to talk about here. We're here to talk about Jiren and Goku, okay? So eventually the fight begins. The fight finally begins between these two. And we see at the beginning just Goku going through the steps of just, the formality of, like Krillin and Master Roshi are talking, the formality of the battle in martial arts, where Goku goes step by step, from his basic form to Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2, God, the red Saiyan God, then blue, and this is the point we get. And I think that's really interesting. I think it's really interesting that he tries every single one of these steps to try and affect Jiren, try to even move him. And then as he progresses, he notices that, each time Jiren has to do a little bit more. Jiren has to just acknowledge the fact that his power level is increasing and eventually he is going to be able to do some damage. And when we get to blue, we start seeing that damage. At this point in the episode, I feel like there's a couple of things about Jiren that we're finally getting. We already saw him a little bit in action, but in this one we finally start seeing him as what he is doing, you know, who he is. And he's as it's put later in the episode, he is just powerful. That's it. I mean, that's just the basic reality of it. It's not that we know of yet. It's not that he's using some super secret technique. It's not that he's a fusion or anything like that. You know, it's not that there's a lot of other things in the show of this. It's just the fact that he is just that powerful. And I think that they did that. They showed us the progression of Goku ramping up to be able to show us just how powerful Jiren really is. So then in the next one, when we actually see Goku, and this one I didn't get a very good shot of this one, but it's basically when Goku finally uses either Kaioken 10, I think it's probably 10, might even be 20, when he's already started the encounter with Jiren, and we see him just having to start to ramp up the power. Now, this is really interesting to me. This is interesting to me because this is obviously a Kamehameha, and as Goku is in blue, and the expression on Jiren's face is really interesting here because I think he's probably already seen this attack, but the fact that he is reacting to it as in, okay, this is something I need to get out of the way of. And he does. He gets out of the way. And we're going to talk about this in a second. But he gets out of the way. So the fact that he didn't take a direct Kamehameha from Goku Blue, it says a lot. It says a lot to me that he didn't even want to try and deflect it, you know? He got out of the way for it. Okay. So this one right here, and no, I'm not going to talk about, I know, the image that's been circulating for a while of the reverse rolls, you know, Goku shirt blown off, Jiren on the ground, all beat up, you know, explosions in the background, you know. I'm not going to talk about that one. We're going to talk about that one in the future, hopefully. But this to me is really interesting. It's really interesting because at this point in the fight, it's not Goku's real moment of realization of his limits, as we've seen many times in the past with, and I hate to say this, but Vegeta. We've constantly seen Vegeta get to a point where he just reaches that wall where he's like, I can't pass it anymore. I can't catch up to Goku. I just can't catch him, you know, and that frustration that he feels. In this one, I think it's more of Goku realizing just what he's gotten into, just how powerful Jiren is, because Jiren is just, that's the thing, he's just powerful. Okay, Red Eyes. So from what I've seen here, Jiren does, and this is here's where we're going to start with a lot of assumptions and a lot of, you know, theories that I have. And again, I've been bouncing these off with other people, especially with Proper. I mean, we've been going back and forth on a ton of these things, but I feel that Jiren has two basic ramped up powers. He's got a physical one, he's got an energy one. The physical one is represented by the red eyes. The power one is represented by blue eyes, I think. I'm not sure if the blue eyes are because of the representation of his attack, or it's because of the reflection of the Genki Dama. I don't know. Whoa, sorry. I don't know about that. But we do know, and it depending on the level of the physical attack, the red eyes are more prominent and more full. You'll see what I mean later. Okay, so first, when he turns on the red, and I didn't catch a scene of it, but that is a time when Goku comes at him in blue, and he does the red eye things, and then you see the whole thing where you see the yellow little hits as the arms, you know, I guess he's moving at a speed that's too fast to be seen, because it seems like he's just standing there, but in reality, you know, you can see his fist, you know, hitting him. And of course, Goku goes flying. At that point, Goku reaches the point of being like, okay, nothing that I have in my arsenal is going to help him. You know, nothing is going to fix him. No, nothing is going to be able to hit him. So, and this is the point where when we got to this point in the episode, I felt a little cheated. I'm not going to deny. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I felt a little like, why are they doing this so fast? Goku going for the spirit bomb. He went to it so fast. I'm not kidding you guys. It just felt to me like he got there so fast. And I guess this is the first time that Jiren was looking at it, because to me, Jiren's look on his face here is like, what is that? But at the same time, I mean, after watching it a few times the episode, this one, it felt to me like Jiren was like, are you serious? It's like, is that it? That's all you got. And of course, we see the power up of the spirit bomb. Everyone there helping out. You know, Goku saying that it's going to take too long for him to build it up. And Jiren, of course, saying, you know, just take your time. You know, just go for it. I want to see the best you have. I don't think at any time did Jiren think he was going to get defeated or even hurt, but he wanted to see it. So he has to deflect it. Of course, at first he just uses one hand to deflect it. Eventually, he does go for the two-hand approach once Goku powers up to Kaioken times 20, and he tries to do it. I mean, you can tell that not only... I think there's two things here that are really important to talk about. The first one is we find out that Jiren is not evil because it doesn't affect him at all. And second, we are once again reminded of the absolute power that Jiren has. I mean, just his level is beyond anything that even resembles competition in this arena. The battle back and forth. I think something really interesting about this entire battle, actually, but something that really caught my eye, especially in these scenes, was the fact that you constantly see Goku, his light. You know, you constantly see that he's got, you know, in the corner there, you see he's all Goku, you know, he's all blued out with the Kaioken times 20. So you can see that shine of him. But you never see, we don't even know where Jiren is on the ground. We never see that from him. And that's something that we constantly have seen. And the only other person that I can kind of say about that is Hit. We don't see Hit's shine, you know, but most of the time with enemies in this case, you constantly see that. You constantly see like the two lights, the two, you know, power glows. And how represented they are by how much they grow. So you can see both sides of the conflict. In this case, you don't see Jiren. It's almost like Goku is. They almost want to show us that he is so far beyond that he's on a whole different. He's a whole different level. He's a whole other level. I just love the scene. I just love the scene because of how cool it looks. I mean, the destroyed arena, just everything, you know, just showing how far we've come when actually we haven't come far at all, because it's been how long now and we've barely gone down, what, like 20 minutes, 15 minutes in the competition, which also begs the fact of realizing how much is still left to go. Okay, this is the one, and here is where I'm kind of wondering, because as you guys, for those of you who watch, you know that at this point Jiren realizes that he doesn't have to. This is the best. This is the best Goku has. He's not going to do more. He drops his hands and he does the eye thing. And this is what I mean by, I'm not sure if there is a blue one. Maybe it's I don't know what it is, but his eyes are not red. So he deflects, he pushes back the Genki, he pushes it back just with whatever, if it's a, I don't know what kind of a power it is, but I want to call it blue because his eyes are blue, and I know it's the reflection of the spirit bomb, but it might not be. I mean, it might be something else, but they're not red. So I kind of feel like the red glow is a physical attack, and whatever this is that he's doing is a energy attack, or maybe a mental attack. I don't know. So pushes it back. We see the clash between Goku trying to take it or not, and I skipped over that part, but because we're going to talk about it later. So Goku pushes it back, and finally the spirit bomb implodes upon itself, and it's just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful when you see it just collapse within itself, create this kind of like mini black hole, and just explode. And as it's exploding, before it explodes, of course, it's like drawing everything into it. It's like pulling all light, pulling all energy into it, and Goku falls into it. At this point, he's still in blue though, which is really interesting. He's not passed out. He's still in blue, but he's given it all. But see, that's the thing. He's still in blue. So he hasn't given it his all. There's still something within him. So he's falling into it. He's realizing, you know, as he's there, that this is not a moment of defeat. It's more a moment of, I think at this point, it's just almost fear of realizing that this thing's about to explode and he can't stop it, you know. It blows up. We start seeing the whole eyes going white. I think is more of a fact of him, and you know, you can see the gestures and everything and the muscles that he's actually trying to find something. He's trying to find something within him to be able to deflect this. And the black little, okay, we're not going to get into it too much, but we've seen this kind of black, you know, like shooting power thing before, and that kind of made me think of something else, but we didn't see anything like that. But obviously, as we find out later, this is the moment where Goku just takes everything he has to try and resist this explosion. Boom, explodes, everything goes up, and well, okay, everything goes up. And then at this point, we have a very long moment where there's a lot of talk about it's over. Jiren is not going to get penalized because he did not kill Goku, because everyone thinks he's dead. Even Beerus, man. Beerus's reaction to Goku being dead, it's awesome. I mean, the fact that Beerus is kind of like, he didn't think that was possible. You almost kind of feel like Beerus always thought that there was something special about Goku and he had the capacity for more. So him realizing that he's dead is just, it's ridiculous. So the explosion is all, you know, it's everything. Actually, no, sorry. Explosion and everything is calm. So I skipped a lot. This moment is the moment when after all the talk, after everything happens, and we find out that Jiren's not going to get penalized, and there is a moment where everyone stands up and all the fighters that are left on the stage, they show their resolve to continue. Even after seeing that, they're not going to give up, because they realize that there is a power that big, and if they don't give it their all, and if they don't try, they're going to get erased. After that, we think he's gone and everything, and then the Rumble. And the whole universe shaking, or that pocket universe or whatever, it's shaking. And we see, I love it, Beerus's words of he's coming. It's just, it's awesome. And I have to say, I kind of find it very interesting that we see Goku in this position from the very beginning, and we don't get to see him, what's it called? We don't get to see him like rise from the ashes, really. Like I thought at first maybe you would have seen him, like, you know, like, because he must have been laying down. I mean, he must have been laying down. So we don't see him actually getting up like that, or maybe in a fetal position, or maybe even like a crouch position. No, it's kind of like we do see him stand up straight, but we don't see anything before. So obviously everything gets drawn to the epicenter. This is the first shot we see of him from behind, and the first thing I notice is that, hey, his shirt's not blown off. So that tells us that there's more to come, because the shirt is not blown off yet. But we do see the back muscles and all that, which I know a lot of people have brought a lot of attention to the fact of that there is a definite physical change in this. And this is something I was going to say, this transformation, but I'm not going to get into that yet. Actually, me and Proper went back and forth on this a lot, about the fact that, and you know what, actually next time I think I'm going to have Proper on here on like a Discord chat with me or something, and we're going to have to talk about this together. Or maybe do like a podcast. You know what, we might actually do a podcast with him, because I feel like this isn't actually a transformation. And we'll finish this, because this is something that we came to a conclusion together. And this is not a transformation. It's not an evolution either. It's something else. So we're seeing Goku rise up. We see the eyes are cleared out, which is reminiscent to me personally about the whole Broly, you know, everything with Broly, which we're not going to get into that. I'm not going to get into. If you've come to my streams, you know why I'm not getting into get into that. But you know, it just kind of makes me feel like, okay, so he's not really there. And at first, I thought that, you know, he's not going to be there. He's going to be fighting, you know, subconsciously, which he kind of is. But you know, he's not really there. And then he closes his eyes, and when he comes back, he seems more focused. And then we see Jiren approach, you know, he takes a few steps. He's like the only one. He takes a few steps because it's more like he's interested, but he knows the fight's not over. And see the explosion and everything. Okay, this is just funny. I just had to show this because I love the look on their face. And we're going to talk about them again in a second. Then we see the pan up. We see the back. And we see the hair, which is awesome. The aura, you know, I'm not going to get into the aura because I don't understand it, and just I don't want to talk about it. We see him start turning around, and the first look at the eyes, which was really interesting, the gray eyes and the full-on face, you know, face reveal. At this point, I kind of feel like, you know, they do want to show us that this is a new, it's not exact, I think it's not exactly a Saiyan transformation, but it's a representation of what this is, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But I think that's what it is. It's just in the Saiyans, this is the representation of that level. You know, the clear gray eyes, the highlights of the gray highlights in the hair, even the physical transformation and changes there. Okay, so here's where we've had the first tech. After all this time, this is the first time I've ever seen Goku sound like that. This is interesting. This is interesting to me. The fact that this is how he sees the world. This is really interesting to me. And we know that this is the spirit bomb energy around him, but it's really interesting to me that he can't see clearly. Most every time, whenever we have seen a transformation, there isn't this. He constantly has this haze in front of him, which is really interesting. And then the really cool thing about this, and I didn't get a shot of this, but it's really cool. The fact that when he tries to take the step, forward, but for a second he takes a step back and then he moves forward, like showing his intent to do something, and then the slip, the space and time slip towards Jiren is just beautiful. Also, I kind of find it really interesting that during this entire fight, we never get to see Hit's reaction. And you guys know why at the end. But it's very interesting to me. I really thought they were going to show him a little bit more reactness. Oh, here it is. Here it is. The whole him taking the step and then moving forward and just appearing next to Jiren. And the fact that everyone, and I wish they would have shown more, but like the other two members, they're looking at the Justice Squad. They're just looking down. They're just looking down. They have no idea where he is, but Jiren does. Jiren totally 100%. He doesn't even dodge it because I think that Goku kind of like missed this one. He kind of appears to the side of him, but that's really cool. When he sidesteps his punch, that's really awesome too. The fact that they clash, he pushes him back. When Jiren actually attacks and Goku just appears behind him, and the moment where Goku is just looking at himself like, I don't know what's going on, you know, like I don't get what this is, I don't understand it. And of course, the fact that when he did that, he actually did manage to touch Jiren. And I like Jiren's look here because Jiren isn't really worried. He's not even really curious. He's annoyed. I feel he's just annoyed. He's just annoyed that it's not over. This moment I found it really, really cool because you've got the two Justice Squad, you know, members attacking Goku, and for the first time probably ever, we normally, whenever you see someone ramp up their level to a point where it's like beyond, you know, like way beyond everyone else, they don't even bother moving. They don't even bother blocking, you know. I don't think that Goku needed to block here. I don't think he did. I think he could have just stood there and he could have just, you know, taken the hits and they would have just bounced off him or something. Or he could have at the last moment just, you know, moved and they would have just, you know, like hit each other or just gone through him or something. But I really like how they used this moment because they showed it to They used it to show how precise he was. His movements were incredibly precise. Not a single thing missed. It was like, I've never seen anything like that before. This was a moment too when I was like, okay, we're seeing something different here. I love that. This is not normal. The Justice Flash attack that Goku just kind of like turns around and walks away from, deflects one shot. Really cool. Jiren then telling him he doesn't need his help, kind of with the hand motion. And of course, we start the fight. Goku attacking Jiren. Oh, this is interesting. See, this is interesting. When Goku actually attacks and when Jiren uses the red eye thing. And this time he went all out. If you guys remember the first time, the red eyes weren't completely full. It was just like, half of the eye. This is full blown out. Not only just the whole eye, beyond it. He goes all out with his red attack, and we know that he confronts him. There's the little, the little rings of him attacking, and of course Goku either just sidesteps, evades, or deflects every single one of his blows to the point where he actually starts pushing Jiren back and into the ground. And then just the continued fight, they get up. I love this part because it's just so far. And then while we have this whole fight going on, which actually, if you guys realize, the actual length of the fights is so quick, things that resolve so quick, but the balance between the two, I feel like the balance between the two, it really shows just how far they went to this, how much preparation they even tried to do to try and, display this change in the show for us. Okay, so here we have Wiz's explanation about how, we get into that. Wiz starts explaining, yes. No. This is the part where Gohan and Piccolo are talking, and, that's kind of the fact that he's continuing to evolve. Jiren's God, just realizing that something is bad here. And here we go. Okay. Wiz's explanation. I really like this. So we have Wiz, just realizing or thinking that he realizes what's going on. As we continue seeing the fight, just Goku is progressing, and then Beerus explaining to us Ultra Instinct. We're not going to get into Ultra Instinct. I might have to talk about that in a completely different video, but I think it's really interesting how we see the difference in the gods. How the Samas are, how everyone reacts to this. Most of them will, those of the people who on here who can be affected by it, who know what it means, and who are scared by it. So you're going to see the gods. You see the gods, how some of these gods are actually scared of it. Some are incredulous. Jiren's god seems a little more angry than anything else. Angry at the fact that he thinks Jiren might actually get beaten here. And then the rest of the gods that you can see, okay, you can tell here by how they react which gods haven't attained Ultra Instinct yet and which ones have. Because you can tell the ones that are just kind of like, okay, this could be a problem, or something like, if I have to go up against this could be a problem for me. And the other ones which are kind of like, this is like, like this one, you can tell the ones that are like, okay, this might be Ultra Instinct, so this might be a problem. And then you've got the other ones which just seem like they're like, uh-oh, this is a problem. And of course, the shot to Frieza, man. Frieza just showing that he has something against the gods. He definitely does. He majorly has a chip on his shoulder there. And seeing something that affects them and gets to them shows that he's kind of like, okay, I gotta figure this out. I love this part. Okay, so I included this because seeing the Xenos, seeing how the Xenos react makes you just wonder even more just what is going on here. There's something else going on here if creatures of this magnitude and power just don't know what's going on. They constantly have to be explained things. And it could be the whole, they are just so far beyond that everything doesn't really matter to them. And unless something is at their level, they don't bother even knowing about it. But I love it. Apparently it's super amazing. So to them it's not. To them it's not super amazing. Or yeah, to them it's not. To them it just doesn't register as something that's that important for them to not even know what it is. Probably either they already have this and much more, or something else. And I just noticed my hands going out of the frame. Okay. So here we go with Wiz's explanation, of course, continuing. He explains us how the energy of the spirit bomb must be acting as a temporary source of power for his depleted body. But that means, it just means that the explosion of the spirit bomb and everything, Goku was somehow, it got into him, which is what's keeping him going right now. That's what's keeping him going right now. He's like borrowing the power of the spirit bomb to fuel his attacks. It's not that it's a part of him now, or really, but it's just that it's just fueling him along. And however, the main point is something else. In the big explosion, the raging power of the spirit bomb that entered Goku-san and Goku-san's own power to resist it, beyond that clash of power, Goku-san broke through the shell to the deeper potential within himself. So once again, and I used to be really annoyed at this whenever they would be like, okay, the hidden potential, the deeper potential, the all of this stuff, especially with Gohan, how we've seen it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, of how there's always a hidden power within. But this is different. This is different. This is not an innate power, but it's a different level that has been achieved. So he breaks through within the inner shell, and he finds his potential. Okay, let's keep going. We're not going to talk about that because we could spend another hour just talking about that. But the heat. So the heat is really important to me. How not only does Wiz address it, but also Jiren addresses it. That it's either that he's burning the energy too much, or that he's using Ultra Instinct in the wrong way. Because the only way he knows how to use energy or how to fight is by using his energy, by using his stamina, by burning it, so by causing heat. But I kind of feel that we're going to see in the future that Ultra Instinct is a whole different thing, and you don't have to burn hot for it to be effective. You know what I mean? Like when we see Jiren, and I think that's why we see the contrast, like with the Spirit Bomb, where we see, Goku really burning bright and the Spirit Bomb, and then nothing from Jiren. I think it's because at the level which Jiren is, you don't have to burn. You don't have to be doing that. And if anything, repressing that, staying cold, it's what's important. That's what's important at that point, So the heat is obviously, we start seeing it. We see this is a more representation of that heat. We see the continued fight. We see Jiren just continuing going. And here I missed a shot, but in this shot is when you start seeing Goku's eyes, like for a second, flip back to black. So that, it's time's running out. You can tell that Jiren also kind of sees it too, and of course the gratuitous hit. So Goku is able to finally land a blow, and again, it's not that it actually affects Jiren. If anything, he just looks surprised that it actually happened. And then Goku does, I thought it was just gonna like slam him into the ground, but he does some sort of an energy attack. He gives it his all. He knows that time is running out. I don't know if you can feel it, but he gives it all with an energy attack, and then Jiren gets pushed down to the ground. He flips out of it. He just kind of like breaks it. Goku goes back into the tower. I really love this shot because you kind of can see how pristine Jiren is, how the fact that Goku actually hit him, like actually need him, and actually was able to do that energy attack. It did nothing. It did absolutely nothing to Jiren. Jiren he's shiny, he's fresh. He's not even warmed up, I think, at this point, which is just, it's ridiculous to see that level of power. Then we see the final, Goku's absolutely final attack. He pushes off the tower. He comes straight at him. He gives it all with one final punch. And we see Jiren talk about Saiyans. I'm not going to get into this comment right now. I was going to get into it, but I've already noticed that this video has already gone way too long. But so I'm not going to get into it. We'll have to get into it another time. The dust settles. We see that Jiren was able to stop it. And for the very first time, we see his aura. It's red. I don't even know what to think here. This is finally the very first time that we see a manifestation of Jiren's actual power. He had to power up. So he had to power up to stop this blow. Then he talks about the heat. We can see Goku. You can see that the energy of the Spirit Bomb is leaving him. I don't think it's that Jiren is absorbing it. I just think that it's time right now. It's just he's burned through it. Goku's eyes go back. It's completely gone. Jiren does, one more hit, and the line, "This is your limit." Well, and I don't even think it's his limit. I think it's just time ran out. He just burned through the Spirit Bomb energy. He gets thrown back, and the assassin comes in for the kill, and he misses. Well, he doesn't even miss. It's just that Jiren stops him. Two things. Hits a boss. His line about he's working, come on, that was ridiculous. Second, the fact that Hit is not surprised. Well, neither of them surprised, but Hit is not surprised that Jiren stopped him. Jiren is not surprised that he tried it on him. It's kind of like, a new challenger has entered. And the fact that we also get from the stands, from the gods and everyone, the fact of realizing that, Jiren doesn't even have this weakness. He is that powerful. Finally, we wrap it up with, we missed the part where Vegeta asked Goku how he did it all. Goku just doesn't tell him, he doesn't know anything. Vegeta just is like disgusted a little bit by him, and then he gets taken away. We don't know by who. Vegeta didn't even get to see by who either. And we don't know where we are. At first, it kind of felt, because of the darkness of the area, it kind of feels like we're underground. Maybe somehow, well, we see who in a second, but they take Goku underground, I think, or something, or maybe surrounded by boulders. But we can tell that Goku's, he's done for. He's done for. He's absolutely gone. He doesn't have anything left. All of his energy and stamina is gone. It's absolutely gone. But I don't think he's near death. I don't think he's near death. I think he's just out of energy. Because remember the whole adage about, Saiyans, when they have a near-death experience or they get to push to that point, they come back even stronger. I kind of think they might use this, because obviously we are going to see part 2 in this battle. We are going to see the follow-up of the confrontation. And of course, we're going to have to see, I don't know how difficult it's going to be for Goku to reach that limit again. But you know how it is. Once he's done it, he can do it again. He just needs to find a path to doing it. So I kind of think that this is going to be the moment to kind of like explain that, the Saiyan thing of, once you get to that point, then the next time, you surpass yourself or you break through a limit. And then it's awesome. It's awesome. I love his line there about remembering when they were back on Namek. And of course, I know, like I personally think, and I know I don't think, I know a lot of people think this. We're not going to see, Frieza is not attacking him. More because Frieza doesn't want to get erased. He just doesn't want to get erased, He wants to survive. He wants to survive so he can figure out a way to be stronger, to be able to take out, well, of course, Goku and, Beerus too. I mean, he wants to have no one be able to oppose him. And to do that, he's got to use Goku. He's a means to an end for him. So I think here we're going to see, the reminiscent of Planet Namek when Goku gave him his energy to revive him. I think that's what we're going to see. We're going to see Frieza just power Goku up, bring him back, and then, of course, we know that there's a couple more episodes. We're going to see Hit next. And then we're going to see Vegeta's episodes. But I think just for this, I mean, this whole episode up to this point, it's been, and I'm going to leave it there because that's it. That's all the images I have, I think. Yeah, I think that's all the images I have. But this is where the episode ends. And I'm not going to get into, you know, the spoilers for next time or the spoilers that we saw and everything. Because that next battle is going to be good. But I guess to close off, what I want to express here is just the fact that, first of all, I loved the production on this episode. The production and direction of this episode was absolutely amazing. Just how they took us from how this show has been so far, and then just completely did a 180. Just it's more like a 90 degree. They just took a right. They just took a right or a left, and they just completely are taking us in a different direction. The timing in the episode was beautiful. The layout of the story was just absolutely wonderful. The visuals, as always, are great. I mean, that's not, you know, that's just what they do. But I do like how they brought it down. You know, they made it gritty. They kept it beautiful, but it's not dark. And that's the really great thing, because Jiren's not evil. We don't know Jiren, and I could go into a whole video alone just about how I feel about Jiren, but he's amazing. He's on that level. He's that far beyond everyone else, including the gods. And even the gods didn't know. Even the gods don't know just how powerful he is. But, well, obviously his apparently kind of does. And that whole dynamic and control thing, that was weird too. That's a whole thing. But he's on a whole different level, and no one knows. We don't even know. I mean, we don't even know just what he can do or where he is. And them seeing Goku, seeing this Ultra Instinct, and seeing the fact that Jiren not only went toe-to-toe with it, but eventually took him down. Just seeing all of that makes Jiren that much more of a mountain in this whole thing. It makes him that much more of just, for those who realize what that means, you know, and like the gods and the angels and everything. So just seeing that makes them realize just how far Jiren is than everyone else. And then, yeah, I mean, this obviously just opens a whole new pantheon of the possibilities, you know. We don't know exactly what Ultra Instinct is. We don't know exactly if that was a Saiyan transformation, you know, what happened, which I kind of think it might be, you know, in that sense. But, and this is the final thing I'm going to end with, because I've already gone on way too much. Ultra Instinct is not just a Saiyan thing. And that, I think, is really awesome, because every single time with every enemy, everyone has something that is their thing and something that they can achieve. This is something where anyone could achieve it. And I really hope that they're really careful with this, that they really like pace themselves in this, because, I mean, if you really want to look at it from this point, Yamcha could achieve Ultra Instinct. He could. Okay, anyone can attain this. Anyone can attain Ultra Instinct. So that in itself opens up an entire realm of possibilities, and also opens up what it takes not to be a god, but what it takes to be above that. Because obviously, to be one of the gods of destruction, you've got to get to a certain point. You have to have something. So there's got to be different, you know, different qualities to be able to reach that. And obviously, this is something that even the gods are afraid of, which is ridiculously awesome. And it brings more questions. It brings so many more questions. But you know what, guys? I love this episode. I'm going to actually go watch it again. If you guys want to talk about it, come to the stream. You know, we'll probably, if Proper's there, we're going to get into it, I'm sure. And if you guys want to see more of this, and this is just, I mean, I haven't even really gotten into it right now. We've just gone through what we saw. If you guys want to see more of this, let me know, because this was fun. So thank you very much for watching, guys. As always, I am DUJ2, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. See ya.